Hi and welcome to SCW, the wrestling channel here on youtube.com. Thank you for choosing the channel and choosing the video. Please subscribe right now. Leave any comments in the comment section. Please like and share the video as well. It's time once again for Ask SCW, taking your questions from Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and of course here on YouTube. Just ask me a question with the hashtag AskSCW, and all the things coming up on the bottom of your screen should tell you where you can find and follow me. So without further ado, let's get into our questions this week. First question this week comes from the Wyatt Man podcast, and they ask, since Brock is defending his belt, do you think The Fiend should do the same, or should Bray be involved in a 5-on-5 match? Of course, kicking off with the Survivor Series, and personally, we've seen this week on Friday Night SmackDown that Daniel Bryan was attacked by The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. It feels clear to me that that's the direction they're going to go with a title match, and I think that this is better personally than the 5-on-5 match at Survivor Series. The Fiend doesn't have friends, doesn't have allies, and shouldn't be relying on other people in a sort of tag team environment. I much prefer that he's involved in a singles match, and to be involved with Daniel Bryan for me works as well, rather than sort of throwing him in with Adam Cole, an NXT champion. We've got history of Daniel Bryan, and of course Daniel Bryan was part of the Wyatt family many years ago, and of course he eventually left the Wyatt family of his own accord, and maybe this is one of those things where, you know, the Fiend has previous history and revenge is needed, and I kind of like that with this Breakout Wyatt character, the Fiend. He seems to have this needing revenge on all these people that have done wrong to him in the past. Daniel Bryan is one of them, so for me, I'm much more preferable to this match being the Survivor Series. Of course, with the program going on, it felt Daniel Bryan was going to be involved with Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura, perhaps the IC title reign. It feels it's been moved to the side for the minute, and perhaps they'll go back to that after we've had the match here at Survivor Series with these two. Next question comes from Calling It in the Ring. Would you be against 5-on-5 at Survivor Series with Seth as the captain for Raw, Roman as the captain for SmackDown, and Adam Cole for NXT? Or would 15 guys standing on the apron be too much? Well, it kind of depends how they're going to do it, I suppose. If there's 3 men in the ring at the same time, then it's not as much of a cluster on the apron. But for me, I would prefer that they did Raw versus SmackDown, Raw versus NXT, and SmackDown versus NXT. You get more guys on the card. My only issue, though, I suppose if they were to do that, I mean, the events are quite long anyway. So to do this and actually make this kind of like where we have so many sort of Survivor Series matches, and for them to be treated right, those superstars can't be sort of buried within minutes of being quickly eliminated, although we sort of do get that in previous Survivor Series when we look back over history. I think WWE wants to protect their talent more these days and make everyone feel creditable in these matches, so I think they're probably more likely, and it sounds like they're going to go down the 5-on-5 route. Yes, Seth is the captain for Raw. I am not aware of the spoilers for Raw. I've tried to keep away from that, so I have seen that. I don't know if the captains for SmackDown and NXT are those respective names, but if they were, they would be creditable representatives, and we'd have to see how it would play out. I mean, we've never seen it before, 5-on-5. Maybe it would work really well. We'll have to wait and see, but for me, I do worry that it would be a bit of a cluster on the apron. Like I say, I would prefer to see more people on the card, and more opportunities for the brands to get victories as well. Maybe Raw wins one of them, SmackDown wins one, and NXT wins one. That way, no one seems so buried when it comes to the end. Unlike last year's Survivor Series, where, you know, for SmackDown, it was a complete whitewash. They lost everything. Although I don't expect that this year, now that SmackDown is on Fox. Next question comes from Tyler Slade. Do you think ratings are as important to a company's survival as they used to be, or much as the same as fans think they are, or not because of all things streaming available in today's age? Well, you sort of hit the nail on the head there, really. I mean, there is multiple different ways that people can watch companies these days. Streaming is a very popular option. YouTube, we've got Dailymotion. Of course, there are other websites that you can catch and watch pro wrestling these days. So you don't need to watch it as and when. Of course, people may still DVR it. I don't know if people are still using that technology as much these days. But yeah, there's different ways and different forms to watch it, where back in the old days, you watched it there or then. If you couldn't record it, you missed it. These days, it's so much more accessible for people to watch it on so many different more platforms. So I don't think it's as relevant, and I don't think it's ever going to be back to the heights of the Attitude Era ever again. I think when we get like these near 4-point ratings, I think that's as good as one could hope for. And it's not to say that people don't enjoy pro wrestling as much or don't care as much. I just think that perhaps maybe if they've got stuff going on in life, they go on YouTube and check out the highlights. If you've got the time, yeah, you sit there and watch the whole thing. But maybe if you're not enjoying it either, maybe think, well, you don't even have to watch it. You can read about it. It's posted on the website. It's not long afterwards. I mean, WWE.com even posts short videos as well of the highlight stuff that goes on in their shows. So there's many options. If you don't need to sit there and watch for 3 hours, why? And for some people, I think more not take that option. I myself, I still prefer to watch the shows as best as I can. I try to always skip adverts if I can, if I'm not watching it live. But yeah, looking at it, I like to watch the shows in full because I feel like I get everything how it's supposed to be delivered. If you watch something in 2 or 3 minutes, I don't know if I still get everything out of it that I'm meant to. There's a story within a match, and of course, yeah, you see the best bits. You go, oh, that was cool, that was awesome. But at the same time, if there's a story in the match, I kind of want to see it play out from start, middle, and end. And I think that that's how I get my best out of wrestling, by watching it throughout the whole experience, whether it be Raw, SmackDown, AEW. There are some companies, like I said, I don't have the time to watch it in full. Impact Wrestling being one of them. I really enjoy Impact. I will make sure to watch the pay-per-views in full, but sometimes when it comes to the weekly programs with access and stuff like that, I will pick the streaming sites. So, like, I'll go on YouTube and I'll just watch the highlights, because that way I know I still get to see what's going on. But yeah, I probably am robbing myself of the full enjoyment of when it comes to watching it like that. But as for ratings, yeah, I don't think they're as important today as they were back then. Next question comes from Josh Marriott, 12. Do I think that Pete Dunne has potential to be a world champion someday? Great question. Love this question. Of course, being English, big fan of Pete Dunne. Perhaps a bit biased of it as well when it comes to seeing him matches. But I think he's technically a masterclass waiting to happen. Such a technically sound wrestler. I really enjoy watching his work in the ring, and I do think he's got potential. I mean, smaller guys are becoming champion these days. It doesn't matter the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog, as they say. So smaller guys become world champion. Pete Dunne was the UK champion for, going around 2 years. So, I mean, why not? I mean, I think that he's got to go and work his way up the ladder. So it's going to be a long time before he's a world champion on maybe Raw or SmackDown. We could even be talking 10 years down the line. But has he got the potential? Of course he does. I mean, he's got a great gimmick. He's got a great in-ring style. And there's a lot of great potential superstars he could face. I mean, Daniel Bryan being one of them is a dream match I really want to see. And those two guys are a similar size. And Daniel Bryan was a world champion. So, yeah, of course, Pete Dunne, he's got all the potential in the world. Yeah, my answer is yes, he can be a world champion someday. The question is, of course, will he work his way up the ladder? Can he get ahead of certain guys in the pecking order? Time will tell on that, but he's certainly got the potential to do it. Next question comes from Noob and Co. And multiple questions this week. Do you want to see a Natalya heel turn down the line? And whose post-match promos are better, the Kabuki Warriors or Io Shirai? And should Ronda Rousey return and get involved in the women's triple threat match at Survivor Series? Lots of questions there. I'm going to try and dissect these for you then one at a time. I'm going to start with Natalya. A heel turn down the line. At the moment, I feel no, because of the fact that she had the match in Saudi Arabia, the first ever women's match, and they seem to be really playing off that at the minute, and it feels that she will continue with her face run in the meantime. I actually think that she'll probably be in a tag team rivalry with the Kabuki Warriors actually going forward with Charlotte Flair at the minute. I think that that's why they picked up the victory on Raw. Whether they'll become women's tag team champions, time will tell. But at the moment, I just don't see it coming at the moment in any way, shape or form. Maybe when we get to our next shake-up, maybe, in a year's time, maybe that could happen then. But I certainly don't see it in the foreseeable future. As for the best promo of the Japanese female wrestlers, the Kabuki Warriors and Io Shirai, I'm enjoying both, I have to be honest. I love the evilness that's come with the Kabuki Warriors since they've turned heel. Io Shirai's heel turn has been amazing as well in NXT. I still think Io Shirai is probably the best at speaking English of the three of them when she does it. So I will give the edge to her, but I do love the all-Japanese promos from all three. To pick one here for me, I think all are awesome, so it's not as if I'm saying that one is bad by picking the other, but if I had to pick a preference, I'm going to go with Io Shirai, just because of the fact that I have more belief in her character, maybe because of the fact that she's in NXT. There's more potential with it. I feel there's a glass ceiling for Asuka and Kairi Sane on the main roster. I don't see them as headline acts anymore. Io Shirai is still a possibility, and I do think she's one of the best women's wrestlers in the world. With your last question, Ronda Rousey, would I love to see it? Yeah, it would be kind of cool, but at the same time, I do feel if that was to be the case, then I'd love to see Charlotte Flair get involved. I'd love to see Sasha Banks get involved. But I don't see all that happening with the women's 4-on-4 four horsemen, shall we say, for MMA and WWE going against each other at this stage of the game. But this is a nice teaser. And with Ronda Rousey, it's going to be when she wants to come back. So as much as should she, it's going to be when she wants to, rather than if we want. But of course, it would be great to see Ronda Rousey assist and help Shayna Baszler, give Baszler the win, because I think Baszler here would have the most to gain. But at this particular moment, it feels that the afterthought is Bayley, and that makes me wonder if Bayley could come out on top. We'll have to wait and see. But as the weeks go by, we'll get more understanding of the story, and when it comes towards prediction time, I will give you my full prediction of what I think with that. But for me, the match I'm looking forward to most currently in Survivor Series is that women's triple threat match and how it's going to play out. Next question comes from James Steele, and he asks, what's your thoughts on WWE signing Scarlett Bordeaux, and what show do you think, do you see her fitting best in, and do you think that this could tempt Killer Kross to follow her? Well, I believe that she's going to be part of the NXT roster. My belief is that she's going to be actually on TV very soon, and that she could be involved with the same gimmick and be involved with a male competitor as well. I would love to see Killer Kross come in and be that male competitor, but I believe Scarlett Bordeaux is not going to change anything about what she does currently. So I'm looking forward to it, because it's kind of a bit different. She is a kind of a racy character in this sort of modern sort of, wrestling era where it's all focused on the wrestling. She's kind of almost what they wanted Tennille Dashwood to be, Emma, back in the days when she was going to be more like that Sable role in WWE. Scarlett Bordeaux will fulfill that role and fulfill it very well. She can perform well in the ring as well, so I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to utilise her in NXT. I don't see it as someone that's going to be quickly going for the NXT Women's Championship, though. Like I say, if she's involved with a male superstar, she'll probably help elevate them, like as Zelina Vega did, maybe Alexa Bliss did in those NXT days. And would it tempt Killer Kross? I think so, because I don't know, I just have this feeling that at the moment it really kind of is a war with WWE and AEW to get those free agents when they become available. Killer Kross, for me, I think would be an asset to either side, and for NXT or AEW, I think that he would fit in very well. And I think that with Scarlett Bordeaux going there, yeah, I think Killer Kross has that potential to do that, and he's got such a vicious kind of style to him. I genuinely believe him when he does these evil, psychotic, twisted promos, and I think that he'd fit in very well in NXT. And I think that he actually could be someone that would be treated well, and I would believe he'd be treated well in NXT or AEW. I think he would go very well and go very far. So yeah, I think Killer Kross would be tempted, and I think that NXT would be interested in having him as well. Next question comes from Pro Wrestling Talk. Who will headline the Hall of Fame class of 2020? It's getting near where we're going to start thinking about the Hall of Fame in the next couple of months, and probably will be revealed. There are some big names that have not gone into the Hall of Fame. The Undertaker is one of them, but I still believe that he's not going to go until he's fulfilled his 30 years within WWE. Of course, Survivor Series 2020 would be his 30th anniversary, so I think that perhaps the following WrestleMania is most likely. I want to see like the likes of Vader and Bam Bam Bigelow in the Hall of Fame, but I don't think they're probably going to be headline acts. But I think that they're probably a good shouts to be involved in the Hall of Fame this year. But for a headline act, I'm going to go for the Animal, Batista. He's retired now from wrestling. I think he would be a great headline shout. He is definitely headline worthy. And if his schedule allows, I think that he would be a definite prime candidate that would be involved for the headline act for the 2020 Hall of Fame. You could have, Evolution involved with that as well. Triple H, Ric Flair, Randy Orton. They're not far to bring in. They, two of them within the company. Ric Flair to make that appearance to help with it. I think that it would be a likely possibility that could be the case, and that would be my pick if you're going to have a headline act for the Hall of Fame this upcoming year. Dave Bautista would be the guy. We're going to get Tyler Slade back on now, and he's asking, who do you see stepping up as the WWE's next big-time player? And also, do you become seeing a top guy or prospect, or just top guy for AEW? We'll go in with WWE first. I'm going to look into the Raw division, and I think that they have a lot of the potentials for big-time players to come involved. For Hispanic star, Andrade would be a great shout. Zelina Vega can help him with the promos. I think that we're slowly going to see him build on Raw now. Heyman really wanted him. Obviously, we wanted Charlotte Flair as well. I think Aleister Black, when eventually they do get him with continuity on TV, I think he's got potential to be a top star. And Ricochet stands out as well. So they would be my top three shouts for Raw and from the WWE side. SmackDown, Ali has got the tools for me. He's not the biggest guy in stature, but you know what? Promo work, he's really good. He's got a great battle as well with his gimmick. I think he's got a message that he wants to put out there, and I think that's something that people can get behind as well. And I think he's a real believable babyface as well. So I sort of think that on SmackDown, he has got the best potential of becoming a top guy within the next year to 2 years in WWE. Looking at AEW, I think we see it last night with Full Gear. MJF all day long. I mean, his turn on Cody, that was perfectly done. For the people that have said it was too soon, for me, I am against that. I really think it was done at the right time. When you look at it, I think that MJF, for me, really has benefited from this feud. I mean, there was a great feud put together there with Cody and Jericho, and the guy that has prospered from this, most of all, is MJF for that heel turn, because it was done at the perfect time when people actually really wanted Cody to become the champion. He went and threw the towel in, and then he turned on Cody, and now we're going to learn that, he said, and openly in there, he's a selfish prick for putting himself in that position to be in the championship match to begin with. He's taken MJF's opportunity away from him. That's where the storyline is most likely going to lead. MJF will probably benefit from this and probably get the victory. And in the long term, you've got a star here. The guy is a natural made heel. He's great on the mic. He is someone who can improve in the ring. And I think he's good in the ring, but I think he can improve. He is like, a modern day Miz when it comes to the talking aspect of the game. And I think a lot of people that want to be heel should really look to MJF because he's inspiration. He is a guy that has got all the tools to make it all the way to the top and prosper. And I think that he will do as well. That's all the questions for you this week on Ask SCW. Thank you for watching as always. If you want to get involved, remember to leave the hashtag AskSCW. Do it drop me in the comments of this and I'll answer on the next video of Ask SCW here on YouTube. Thank you for watching as always. Please subscribe, spread the word of SCW. I'll see you next time here on YouTube.com. Take care.